morning and welcome to Frank's School. This is the 7th year, 118th day, 10th video in theory, although it's too much for one day. And there's still at least one, maybe two coming, I don't know. This is the state of the school looking back at 2020 and looking forward to 2021. I'm trying to go faster than I have or keep the video shorter. I was looking at what I had done, and basically 86 couple days is what it would take if you did that 9, 8, 7, 6 as the couples arrived, or rather one. Well, yeah, in 9. I showed that already. 9 couples could produce about 43 huts, I say, in about 9 weeks. 9 weeks. Now, if they were done at a hut every 2 days, which is doable, then it would be 43 couple. It would be 86 couple days, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But those folk huts, well, each one would house a couple in extreme decentralist, minimalist living. But you could reasonably house 4 people per hut. So we're 172 people housed in about in that short of a time, I say. In about 10 days, you could come up with 9 huts, which means that those couples, each one arriving ready to build, could house themselves. You know, you could have housing for them within 10 days. Each one as they arrive. That's hard to explain. Alrighty, anyway, what I want to do here is I want to go down through this image again and show you the springs, wells, water wheels, and windmills that are proposed. Let's see if I can go like this. Way up in the mountain, there's a spring on my sister's property in the mountain, and it can be piped down as a drinking water, potable water, to this, and a fountain to this cluster right here. That's a spring, drinkable water. There's water that comes like this to a saddle. Now it dries up in the summer. It would have to be piped. In a normal year, you could keep water there if it were piped. But in an open bis, it dries up by summer usually. So there's a water supply there. There's a water supply. Well, I'll tell about that as we go down. All right, now windmills. I'm going to go as I go. Right here is a spot for small 3-legged windmill. It's actually standing currently down here, but I'll take it down and move it up here. It was just down here to kind of show off that they can be done. Up here on this cluster, there's a spot for a very big windmill. These are cloth sailed for simplicity's sake. All of them are cloth sailed. I don't intend to get into the carpentry of those Dutch and German water wheels. Windmills. All right, those are windmills coming down. A big windmill right here to drive a bandsaw sawmill. I have the parts. I have everything for that. It's just a matter really of doing it. So that's a big one there. Now there's back to water. There's a water supply back in here that comes down. It's very strong in the springtime, and it goes down. I might have explained about some of this already. But there's at the valve, I kind of call it a valve. I'll have a gazebo over it. Anyway, that aqueduct then, here it goes into the air, and the aqueduct goes that way and it goes this way. Now going that way, there's a water wheel and a windmill proposed right there, which is again, well, it's sort of a valve. This water could go straight on to drive a very high water wheel, about over 20 foot, or it could drive a water wheel here, which would be about 12 foot, maybe 8, 10, 12 foot, and then after it drops, come over here and drive a second one about the same height, about half the height it would be if I ran the water over the whole one. Now so there's one, two, well, there's more water wheels. Now this valve, I can run some of the water or all of the water along this aqueduct along the side of this building, and run it down over, perched over some huts, and drive a very high water wheel, once again 20 foot plus. Now once that water drops from either that system or that system, it is caught, and we're not finished with it. It can then be gathered and run over water, a small water wheel here, and that would finally get down into the natural drain once again. I'm forgetting something here. Oh, there's an additional water supply that comes like this, and that oh, I know what it is. That comes like this, and it can go underneath the really high water wheel. Since they're pitch back, this would be pitch back, which means not overshot, but just as high, but then the water's pitched back, and that way it could pick the water up from a lower source as well. I've explained it elsewhere, I think. All right, so those are let's come over to this supply. From this supply, there's a site for a very high water wheel right here from that supply. It's very strong in spring. Then that is joined by a supply here. The two then go together, and they would run a water wheel right in here. Oh, and so I don't forget about it, potable water, back to drinking water. There's an old well right here which I dug out. There's my own house has a drinkable water. This is a cherry tree house. It has a strong well, and it has drinkable water. And down here is a spring, the old original spring. All right, this would drive a water wheel right here. The supply coming from the pond would pick that up and drive a water wheel right there. The supply coming once again from the creek right about here would drive a water wheel. These are low ones. This is only about 4 foot, but a big volume. And let's see, another opportunity for a water wheel right here. And then finally one down there. Windmills, still one here in the pig cloister. Maybe a tiny one here, almost just for fun. Windmills. A pretty big one right here over the hammer hut. And I guess that's it. I'm hurried because I don't want to overburden my memory on the camera. Bye for now.